Welcome to Dr. TSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome when India is chilling out. The weather drops and India becomes really cold. Don't worry, we have got a good topic to make you think so that your mind becomes the center of all the decision making. It becomes very hot so that even your body will feel that heat. Such is the topic, believe me. And as usual, we have Gautam Da. Dr. Gautam Das, he just
Namaskar.
he just says, I am a practicing physician from Kolkata. It's not that just that. He is the one with so much of experience, enormous experience, and that exuberance to bring out facts into the public domain in the easiest way any common human being can understand. That is the beauty of his. Like all the other wonderful guests, Gautam Da is something very special in. He chooses, selects difficult and different topics so that there is no confusion when I am hosting a live show. He just understands the topics which we bring out on live, and in accordance, he comes out with that spirit. That is the beauty of it. So, the topic is very clear. What is happening to India? We'll leave world. While discussing India, why is that children are being targeted? Excuse me. What happened to children during first and second wave? As a doctor, we don't believe in that waves affecting certain age groups. That is not science. So for their appetite, now they are trying to influence the families by creating another wave of fears, psychosis, wherein they are trying to target innocent children to sell the vaccines, which have been right from the day we have been telling you. The vaccines, again they say in the age group of 15-17, no data on trials. Where did they do the trials? Safety, efficacy, peer review, immunogenicity, peer review in a smaller group and then in a bigger group. And what really necessitated this vaccines prevention? They have changed the definition of prevention to stop the transmission. What is the necessity? Did any child die in the first and second waves? As a doctor, we should not be uttering these nonsensical words. But what to do? The government, ICMR, DCGI, and all the state governments, including their medical health boards, are forcing us to utter this. When there is no such fatality in children in that age group, why are you scaring people? Their own Intagi, Dr. Arora says something, and we challenged him through this show. He has not come back, nor Prime Minister's office, nor any political party. ICMR, they did not answer till this day. Where is the necessity? When he claims so many deaths, where are those? Come on, come out figure. Even the Supreme Court also, we have been requesting and demanding. How do you come to a conclusion that so and so has died from COVID and you are allotting, my money? You are trying to pay my money, 50,000 rupees. Very meager amount for a loss of life. But how did you come to a conclusion? Is it just mere that RT-PCR? Is that enough? Is that a standard of this thing? No comorbidities? What happened to postmortem and autopsy? We have been demanding because it's my money which is being invested. For RT-PCR, it's my money. To pay my money and to manufacture a vaccine which doesn't even on today being used under emergency use authorization by my money. With no liability, no compensation. Then what is this vaccine? They have changed the definition of vaccine. Just creating that fear, utter fear. But people have become smart as the world is getting out of the vax mandate, all these nonsensical mandates. At this time of the show, there is a big protest going on in Canada. All truckers, and it is being supported by none other than the Tesla boss. England, Sweden, Denmark, Spain, one after the other country, getting out of all these holes. When we have been demanding cinema theatres open, bar and restaurants open, how is that you have closed schools and colleges to promote vaccines instead of imparting education without any discrimination, school managements and all those people, they will have to pay tomorrow. If Nuremberg Code is applied, if any inquiry goes on, how long Supreme Court or High Courts can stall the trials? Can stall the trials. So many public interest litigations when governments are not acting, ICM are not acting. No, all political parties on one line to sell vaccines, to promote vaccines, rather than create a favorable weather for natural immunity when India has got so many alternatives, Anandaya Ayurvedic medicine, naturopathy, and so forth, which wonderful doctors like Dr. Gautam Da simply telling you how to overcome this virus and how can you have the natural immunity. They are not listening to that. When such is the case, the courts should have come to the rescue. But bills have been filed much before. First dose, second dose, booster now for adults. Where is the necessity of booster? No one knows. Rahul Gandhi says, I have told Honorable Prime Minister, you should go for a booster. We have been demanding the scientist in Rahul Gandhi to explain us why you suggested and why Honorable Prime Minister announced. And not only that enough, now they are trying to vaccinate children. Schools and colleges have become promoting grounds. This is ridiculous. That is the reason why today's topic is of utmost importance. Without any delay, now we are getting into the topic. I will make Dr. Gautam Das the presenter. Allow children to enjoy their lives. Let them breathe. Let them run around. Let them have fun. Let us all enjoy their facial expressions rather than masking them, trying to vaccinate, trying to create fear psychosis, shutting down schools and forcing them to sit in front of the bright light, getting exposed to so many waves, electromagnetic waves. That is the reason why this show is more important. Yes, Dr. G.
Okay, fine. It is always my pleasure to be back on TRTSCR channel. Today our topic is COVID Edicts, selfish giants in children's world. When we were children, almost every one of us have read the story of selfish giant. Selfish giant is a metaphor in this story. Oscar Wilde was a master storyteller. He created the character called selfish giant, who erected high walls to keep the children out of his beautiful garden. In today's world, the powerful COVID managers and regulators are even more innovative storytellers. They have created many selfish giants who are erecting high walls across the countries. These are high walls of lockdowns, restrictions, and arrogance and fun. The
Yeah.
screen is not moving.
Just try to
Yes.
one. Yeah, it has moved, sir.
High walls of lockdown, arrogance, and fun. One BBC report aired in the month of April in 2021 told us that these high walls of lockdown kept lakhs of children out of the means of survival, and consequently, almost 2.3 lakhs children died in South Asia, and another 2.3 lakh mother and children are destined to die in this part of the world. The immunization among children in India has dropped by 35%. Child mortality rate remains highest in India in 2020, and there is a possibility that it will go up by 15.4%. The terrible picture of malnutrition has turned from bad to worse in the coming few months. All this could have been avoided because by then almost 1 year into the pandemic, the writing on the wall was clear and loud. There was no scientific basis for non pharmacologic restrictions like lockdowns, mask mandate, social distancing, stay at home, etc. Next, masks do no good but harms in some cases. It is even more evident today because a recent Bangladeshi trial has proved that cloth masks do not work and they are ineffective against the transmission of viruses like SARS-CoV-2 and its recent variant. N95 masks do some work in special situations for a special period of time, but quite ineffective against the transmission of a fast spreading milder virus like the Omicron. Lockdown has been proved disastrous and it hit hard the vulnerables, like the poor, the children, and women, mostly who are living below the poverty line. Now, more than 400 international studies have proved that these non pharmacologic restrictions are actually ineffective and destructive. They failed to curb the transmission and reduce the death. Rather, they caused immense harm, especially to the poor and vulnerable.
So can you increase your voice, sir?
Here is an example of such study. It was published in European Journal of Clinical
Can
Investigation.
you increase the volume, doctor,
This
sir?
research,
Can you increase the volume?
increasing the volume.
You can a bit. You speak a bit louder, please.
Okay.
Many, if they are demanding, they are requesting.
Oh, I see.
If you can just,
This this research, is it audible?
yeah,
This
yeah.
research, this research was led by Bendavid Jayabhattacharya and Professor Ionadis. It clearly shows that the claims of benefits of lockdowns and other forms of restrictions were grossly exaggerated and it caused immense harm to the children and poorer section of the society. Apart from that, it caused many psychological problems like depression, anxiety, suicidal tendency, and caused domestic and child abuse. Here is another interesting comments from the Wall Street Journal. A commentator made a brilliant remark that the US administration did two important things, rather to say two experiments. First one is that they locked down the economy in the first part of the year and in the later part they reopened it. And they proved two things. Firstly, they proved that locking down the economy did not contain the disease and reopening it did not unleash a second wave of infection. But such observations in mainstream media is lacking in our country. We know that many states of our country are still keeping the school shut. They are bent on having restrictions on school children on flimsy grounds. We are witnessing the same thing in our state, West Bengal, in spite of the fact that UN has clear and unequivocal statement on this issue. They clearly said as late as 7th December 2020, they said that evidence shows the schools are not the main drivers of pandemic and school children should not be made scapegoat. And they have also observed by their own agency that there was the fact that shutting down the school is a wrong response to COVID 19. It not only deprived the children of education, it deprived them of very important nutritional programs. And this was a study most often cited and mentioned even in mainstream media. It was published in Nature magazine. It said that the possibility of severe disease and death due to COVID 19 is incredibly rare among children. On the right hand side, you can see another famous study done by none other than Professor Anadis. And most interestingly, it was published in a September bulletin of WHO in the year 2020. It showed that overall average mortality rate, infection fatality rate in COVID 19 is as low as 0.23 across all ages. It is a median rate. And for a person below 60, between 50 and 59, the infection fatality rate was 0.27. And the chance of a child below 19 years dying from COVID 19 is 1,000 times less than that of an adult person below 60. So, such was the minuscule risk from COVID 19 of a children dying from it. But in the story of selfish giant, we learned that as the selfish giant drove the children out of his garden, the hail, storm, and snow refused to go away. Here, in this real world of selfish giants, the giants are still trying to throw some wool to the public eye. How? In this way. See, there is a giant regulator called CDC who are dishing out this type of informations. If you go to the CDC site and look for some information about the impact of COVID 19 on pediatric population, they will offer you this thing this time. See the last two lines highlighted here. They said that while children infected with SARS-CoV-2 are less likely to develop severe illness compared with adults, children are still at risk of developing severe illness and complications from COVID 19 in the same breath. As if SARS-CoV-2 and COVID 19 are two different entities. I have shown you this because this is the way they have adopted to fool the people. So, be careful when you want to get some information from some authentic site like this, very careful and reconfirm it. There is a response made by Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare in Rajya Sabha. They said that there was no scientific evidence, either from India or from any parts of the world, that children get disproportionately infected with COVID 19, including the Delta variant. Children generally remain asymptomatic and exhibit mild symptoms, do not get severe disease. It was the statement of the Minister of Health and Family Welfare. But ironically, just 1 month later, they approved the first vaccine for children against COVID 19 just after 1 month of issuing the statement under the excuse of emergency. The statement clearly said that, clearly suggests there was no possibility of emergency so far as children are concerned. But just after 1 month, of issuing the statement, they gave the nod for Zy-CoV-D vaccine, the first variant, first kind of DNA vaccines ever approved for children.
1 second, Doctor. This is a big news, big exposure by Dr. Gautam Da. Many such. You have seen the CDC, how it is trying to confuse in between SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19. Such a CDC website, how is that the American Senate or Congress doesn't question? And how is that the learned society like America getting confused? Why even Supreme Court or federal court or local courts there, why they have not mustered that evidence or strength to evidence it and to initiate action? Similar lines is India. It's a big news है, ये बड़ी खबर है आज 23 जुलाई को हमारे माननीय मंत्री मनसुख मांडविया जो मिनिस्टर ऑफ हेल्थ एंड फैमिली वेलफेयर के है, वो लोकसभा में प्रश्नोत्तर के समय उन्होंने कहा, देयर इज हाउएवर no scientific evidence either from India or globally to show that children get disproportionately infected with COVID-19 Delta variant. Children, if infected, generally remain asymptomatic or exhibit mild symptoms and do not get severe disease. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? अब सोचिए आप, साक्षात पार्लियामेंट में, लोकसभा में हमारे मंत्री जी ने, स्वास्थ्य मंत्री ने ये कहा कि बच्चों को दुनिया भर में या भारत में ये व्याप्ति के कारण, कोरोना या कोविड-19 के व्याप्ति के कारण ना उनको रोग लक्षण आएंगे, ना उनको इस तरह की रोग लक्षण आएंगे जो बड़ों में पाया गया। तो डरने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं, या अगर उन कोई रोग का लक्षण छोटा सा माइल्ड डिजीज का लक्षण बताएंगे, लेकिन वो उतनी जानलेवा नहीं होगा। ये है हमारा मंत्री की बयान। कब हुआ? 23 जुलाई 2021 को। और हमारा प्रधानमंत्री जो है दिसंबर 25 को ने, और मच अर्लियर ना सर, ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर एड्रेस नेशन ऑन 25 दिसंबर।
Yes, 25th December. 25th December 2021.
या 2-3 महीने में ऐसा कुछ क्या हुआ कि बच्चों को नए तरीके टेक्नोलॉजी की वैक्सीन 15 से 17 साल के बीच में देना पड़ रहा है। क्योंकि जब लोकसभा में मंत्री ये कहते हैं, प्रधानमंत्री देश को एड्रेस करते हुए उन्होंने वैक्सीन अनाउंस किया, और भी वो ऐसा टेस्टेड वैक्सीन नहीं है, नई वैक्सीन है, जब बच्चों को ज़रूरत ही नहीं है। लोकसभा में जो बात की गई, तो प्रधानमंत्री आके 26 दिसंबर वहाँ पर एनतागी के डॉक्टर जयप्रकाश मुलियल उन्होंने भी अपोज किया, क्योंकि कोई बच्चे मरे नहीं हैं और बच्चे स्वस्थ हैं और बच्चों को सहज रोग निरोधक शक्ति, हर्ड इम्यूनिटी आई है, कम्युनिटी ट्रांसमिशन में एंटीबॉडीज पाए गए, उनको ज़रूरत नहीं है, ये नहीं उन्होंने कहा। लेकिन अरोरा एनतागी के चेयरमैन जो बच्चों के डॉक्टर है, उन्होंने ऐसे डराव एक पब्लिक स्टेटमेंट दिया कि सेकेंड वेव में 15 से 17 साल के बीच में काफ़ी बच्चे मरे। तो हम उसी का पुष्टि हर शो में हम मांग रहे हैं, भाई बताओ, आधार बताइए। प्रधानमंत्री के ऑफिस को हम मांगा, डिमांड किया, ICMR, DCGI, हर एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी या राष्ट्र सरकार को आज तक कोई जवाब नहीं दिया उन्होंने। लेकिन वैक्सीन चलाने की पाबंदी ये कर दी और साथ में स्कूल्स कॉलेजेस बंद कर दिए। अब लोगों, आप ही सोचिए ये क्या है। लोकसभा में एक बात किया जा रहा है स्वास्थ्य मंत्री के द्वारा, प्रधानमंत्री एक कह रहे हैं, एनतागी अरोरा एक कह रहे। कौन सा सच है? क्या सच है? हम मांगी कितने बच्चे मरे बताइए आप सेकंड वेव में। आज तक उसकी पुष्टि नहीं की गई, लेकिन बच्चों को डराया जा रहा। स्कूल्स कॉलेजेस बंद किए, सिनेमा थिएटर्स ओपन, बार एंड रेस्टोरेंट्स ओपन, लाखों का सर रैली करते हैं। और चुनाव, इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया मार्च में 5 राष्ट्र में चुनाव करने की घोषणा की है। ये कैसे होगा? कहा ये वैक्सीन भेजने की या लोगों को डराने की? बच्चों को इस तरह की टीका देने से उनका स्वास्थ्य के ऊपर किस तरह परिणाम होंगे? यस डॉक्टर गौतम सर।
Yes. Another example of spreading confusion and fear which is non-existent. While the health experts of our country are assuring us that this Omicron virus is mostly mildly fast spreading and probably it is sounding the endemic stage of the pandemic, the endemic stage of the virus. It is so mild, it is not causing any severe disease or hospitalization, so that we can say it can be called a natural vaccine in that way. So this should be a big relief, big news for the people who are languishing in fear. But you see, the controversial who boss again jumped into the fray, came to the scene, and said this nonsense. He warned that the toxic mix of low vaccine coverage and testing amid Omicron scare. He was suggesting that the testing should be ramped up more and vaccination coverage should be widened, and he termed the Omicron spread as a scare. So, quite expectedly, he is again re-elected for 5-year terms. I do not know whether he was rewarded for these or other great things. We do not know. And a very interesting thing, Dr. Fauci came forward and said that there is no place of complacence and the data showing Omicron causes milder illness. He cannot deny the fact that Omicron causes milder illness. But at the same time, he cleverly added that we should not be complacent with it. So, when the giants like Tedros come, can the stalwart like Fauci be far behind? Another example of divergence between the truth revealed by our health experts and the actions undertaken by our drug headmen. See, on the left side, there is a press report that says Dr. Sanjay Rai and he himself was a principal investigator of the Covaxin trial on children. He said that there is no justification of vaccinating the children because there is no proof that it could benefit the children. He also mentioned that in the last ICMR Sero survey, it was revealed that 60% of our children were infected and they got the immunity, and the death rate is extremely low as 2 in a million. Just remember the number 2 in a million. He made this remark on 11th October. Next day, next day, 12th October, subject expert committee. We do not know who these people are, what are they doing behind the curtain, what are they advising the government, and what are the scientific evidences of them to back their claim. We do not know because it is not available in the public domain. Subject expert committee has given a recommendation to DCGI for the use of Covaxin for 2 to 18 years old. Just next day. Another example of divergence between what our leading public health experts say and what our drug regulators do. On 23rd December, Dr. Jayaprakash Mulai, National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization member, a group of experts commissioned by the government themselves, they recommended that children's vaccination should not be a priority. And we should not be in a hurry. But just one day later, this thing happened. There was a surprise address for the nation by our PM, and he came to the TV screen and made this big announcement that COVID vaccines, especially the Covaxin, has been allowed or given approval for using children between 15 to 18 years. If you have a closer look at the published trial data of Jaikov 2, you will find some elusive truth which you are not expected. For example, if you go through the published article, you will see it was a non-randomized trial conducted, mind it is a phase 1 trial. It was conducted between July to September of 2020. It was done among just 48 subjects, finished within 3 months. Data published on 17th July 2021. Approval was given on 20th August, just 1 month later of this trial being published, and it was said that in the approval that it bears a testimony to the innovative zeal of India's scientists. So how innovative it is and how formidable the zeal is, you will see later on. That is another example of glaring example of flip-flop and doublespeak of a health expert who is incidentally the chief of COVID task force of our country. Just one day after our PM made the big announcement in television, he came up and made a bizarre and weird claim that 2/3 COVID deaths in 12 to 18 age group happened. He meant that out of all the deaths due to COVID, 2/3 happen in this younger group. But till now, he had not come up with any evidences that could substantiate his claim. Quite ironically, the same expert published an article in the Times of India on 12th April that opening up vaccines for younger adults right now will be a gamble with life. So, a legitimate question will be asked, which Dr. Aurora is true? Who is speaking the truth and who is not? Another valid question, are our children safe in the hands of these people who are advising our government to take important and crucial decisions on vaccination? This is an example how chaotic the situation is, has been going on in the name of vaccine trial. See how the endpoints of studying the same type of vaccine frequently changed. in different trials within a very quick succession. 18th July, Zydus Cadila, Zydus Cadila planned that they will be going to start the vaccine trial above 5 years. On 20th August, they got the nod of their brand of vaccine consisting of three dosage regime. On 5th October, they were given nod for phase 3 trial of two-dose vaccine. So it indicates that there was complete chaos and confusion which was prevalent among the vaccine makers regarding the dosage schedule and the target groups. Now another important aspect of the same trial that I have shown you. Question is, who funded, designed, and oversaw the trial? The research paper honestly revealed the fact that the trial of vaccine was sponsored by a governmental agency. It translates to the fact that the money for this trial was given from the government coffer. That means taxpayers' money. At the expense of taxpayers' money, a private company conducted the trial of a vaccine and to reap the benefit of the approval of this vaccine. And one more important thing is that the manufacturers themselves designed the study, oversaw it, they did the data analysis, they collected, managed, analyzed data according to a pre-specified statistical analysis plan. And I have already told you that only 48 subjects were there in the study, and within 3 months it got completed, and their interpretation was is safe, well tolerated, and immunogenic. So we can learn from this botched trial that small size can lead to tall claims. Another very important aspect of this trial is that if you look at carefully, you will see there was no control group, there was no endpoints like the appearance of clinically defined disease, reducing severity, hospitalization, or death that they are touting to market their vaccine. None of the claims that they are making while pushing this vaccine was actually there in their trial endpoints. What were the endpoints? There were two endpoints. First one was to look for an incidence and severity of adverse reaction. The other one was that to find the IgG antibodies against spike and S1 antigen. So the question is, when 60% of the children developed antibodies, and now many studies suggest that almost 80% of populations have natural antibodies, which are 13 times stronger and long lasting, then why should we need this stuff which cause an IgG antibodies, which we have already had? So is there any need of taking this stuff as a precautionary measure? Now, a very important aspect of the approval of this vaccine is that who issued the statement? Quite strikingly, it is not the DCGI themselves. They made public this statement. It came to us from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. They say that they have given approval based on interim clinical data of phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trial. Every word is important. By their own admission, the trial is not complete. The trial is not complete. They have taken only the interim data. But in the last paragraph, it is shown below. They said the approval of aforementioned COVID-19 vaccine is dependent on the successful completion of clinical trials. There is a double talk, double standard. And the next paragraph said that they are thinking about the approval of Covaxin. It was on 7th December 2021.
It's a big exposure, Dr. Sir. I think now entire India is watching, entire world is watching. What would the Honorable Prime Minister have to say on this? Because he has announced unilaterally. It is on your screen. How the DCGI... Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Go, carry on.
Please
Now,
go
if
ahead.
you want to get it translated, carry on. No issue.
The earlier slide.
Oh, earlier one. Okay.
See, it is a big exposure. Dr. Gautam Das has taken so much of pain giving you all evidences. What it says, they have not completed trial, and how under 18 these vaccines have been approved. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Cadila Healthcare has received the approval of restricted use in emergency. Setting, where is the emergency? That is what? अत्यवसर परिस्थिति किधर है देश में? हमको डराया जा रहा, धमकाया जा रहा. फॉल्स टेस्ट RT-PCR, जिनको रोग लक्षण नहीं है उनको नहीं करनी चाहिए. जब लाखों के साथ रैली करते दिन में अचानक इतने लोगों को पॉजिटिव कैसे हो जाता? केवल डर बनाने की, ताकि आपको अत्यवसर परिस्थिति दिखाना, लॉकडाउन करना, सब बंद करना, वैक्सीन अपने ऊपर छोड़ देना, और वो भी अपने पैसे से. ना कोई जवाबदारी है, ना कोई वहाँ नष्ट परिहार मिलेगा. इसका सबूत यही है, ये ट्रायल में ही है. वो ट्रायल का क्लियर आपका आइडिया देख सकते हैं. कैडिला हो या भारत बायोटेक, नीचे सीरम इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडिया का, उसका पूरे स्टेज ट्रायल्स ही है ये. और रेस्ट्रिक्टेड यूज़ माने उसका मतलब है कि जहाँ ज़्यादा पैमाने पर व्याप्ति हो उस जगह ही इसको इस्तेमाल करनी है. तो इंटर भारत को इन्होंने इस तरह बना दिया, डर के, डर मार के. लेकिन मार्च में 5 राष्ट्र में चुनाव हो गए. इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया बताना चाहिए उनको, कैसा मालूम कि मार्च तक सब ठीक ठाक हो जाएगा. यस डॉक्टर दा.
Yes, I like to point out another factor, another aspect, very important one. You see, in the next second paragraph, they said that they are thinking of approval on Covaxin. Covaxin has already submitted the interim data to the regulator. It was on 7th December. And all of us know that on 25th December, we came to know that Covaxin was given final approval. But you see, the final date of completion of trial was supposed to be on 25th January. I will show you that evidence. The final completion date of the study of Covaxin, I repeat, Covaxin, was supposed to be on 25th January 2022, not 21. So 1 month before that supposed date, the Covaxin was approved.
It's a big exposure on your screen, and they have been given Padma Bhushan. पद्म भूषण क्यों दिए भाई उनको, किसी को पता नहीं. क्या उन्होंने मुफ्त में अपने को टेक्नोलॉजी दिया क्या? किसने क्या सेवा की? हमारी पैसे, जब महामारी के समय इतना पैसा उनको दिया गया, हज़ारों करोड़ों रुपये, और ना कोई टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफ़र है, ना कोई गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में उनको देने की, वो टेक्नोलॉजी द्वारा मैन्युफैक्चर करने की कोई व्यवस्था दी क्या उन्होंने? पूरे पेटेंसी राइट्स उन्हीं के पास है, लेकिन पद्म भूषण किस निस्वार्थ सेवा के लिए दिया गया आज तक हमको पता नहीं. यस डॉक्टर साहब.
Yes, in their own words, we can say that their innovative zeal was rewarded. I think all of us can understand what is the zeal about. So, here is the media news. In this way, the media trumpeted the success of co-vaccine like other vaccines without asking a single question. They just published what the company said verbatim. They said it showed robust safety, they just printed it, they just aired it. And see, they said that no, it was published in the Hindu. It was published in Hindu, the Hindu.
Very surprising, shocking, very shocking.
Media report.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Very shocking.
No serious adverse event was reported. 374 subjects reported either mild or moderate severity symptoms. 78.6% got resolved within a day. You see the number, 374 subjects reported either mild or moderate severity symptoms. So they admit that 374 subjects had some form of adverse effect. But out of what? They didn't tell you. Total number was 500 something. Actually, whole number was divided into 3 cohorts like groups, 175 each. So you can assume that 2/3 of the subjects who participated in the trial have got some form of adverse effect. This is the truth. So there are many pertinent questions that were left unanswered and trumpeted by the compliant media. It is another example how the vaccine makers did the trial. You see, who funded it, who conducted it, who had the full access to data, who submitted the trial data and got the nod? The answer is the vaccine maker themselves.
And they get Padma Vibhushan. Padma Bhushan.
Yes.
For this.
That is a great work indeed. That is a great work indeed. 5 out of 14 authors of the trial. 5 out of 14 authors of this trial were from the company Bharat Biotech. The names are here on your screen.
It is a big exposure
And
on
the
your
lead
screen.
author.
Big exposure on your screen. Funded by Bharat Biotech and 5 of them on your screen. Yes, sir. Co-author.
Not only that, the leading author of the trial was the owner of the company, chairman and managing director of Bharat Biotech, Krishna Elaya.
Krishna Ella.
And they said that they funded it, they conducted it. Not only that, it was unblinded before them. They had full access of data. And they got the final responsibility of submitting the report to the regulator. So, can you call it a big success? As our regulator and government is trying to promote it, is it a big success? Yes, it is. If it is a well orchestrated event, it is purely a big success. But it is not if you call it a good and ethical scientific practice.
Bharat Biotech themselves conducting trials, themselves authoring everything, and they themselves have access to all the data which are submitted to the regulator. What will Prime Minister say on this? The Prime Minister's office, the Health Minister, the ruling governance at the center, and all state governments, everyone started to promote this vaccine, and all those political parties who are keeping silent, people will not excuse you. Is this for this reason they have been awarded Padma Bhushan with our own money? See, they are investing our own money out of our own fear for a disease which has got 99.9% recovery on their own without any treatment. And the trials of the vaccines, they themselves are the manufacturers, owners of the company, and they themselves run the trial, and they themselves publish, and they have got access of the data which is submitted to the regulator for giving them official nod, still under emergency use authorization. What is this drama? They have made a fun of our Padma Bhushan awards, literally. Every Indian should come out, जागो, हर एक नागरिक हमारे पैसे से. ये एक एग्जाम्पल आपके सामने रखा गया. भारत बायोटेक जिस तरह वही कंपनी है जो मैन्युफैक्चर वैक्सीन करती है, वही ट्रायल में जाते हैं और वही उसको पब्लिश करते हैं, जहाँ की 5 के कंपनी के लोग वहाँ पर है, और जो डाटा रेगुलेटर को दिया जाता है DCGI, वो सब डाटा उनके हाथ में ही है. तो उसका मतलब क्या है आप सोचिए. ट्रायल जिस तरह चाहिए, डाटा जिस तरह चाहिए, उस तरह मनमानी, और उसके लिए उनको पद्म भूषण दिया गया क्या? हमारे पैसे से इस तरह की गुस्ताखी, और कैसे हमारे को इस तरह के माहौल में रहते कि जहां अत्यवसर परिस्थिति हो, जहां हम डरे हो, डराओ, अत्यवर परिस्थिति लाओ, और हमारे पैसे से वैक्सीन हमारे ऊपर तामे, जो अत्यवसर परिस्थिति में वैक्सीन की पुष्टि आपके सामने है. ट्रायल, टीका का ट्रायल किस तरह किया गया, और कौन कौन थे वो लोग, वो ट्रायल डाटा जो रेगुलेटर को दिया DCGI. तो हम माननीय प्रधानमंत्री, स्वास्थ्य मंत्री एवं हर एक राजनीतिक दल और हर एक राष्ट्र सरकार को हम पूछना चाहते हैं, ये सही है या नहीं? आज इतने बड़े पैमाने पर आज ने हम आपके सामने आधार के साथ ये लगाया. आप सोचिए, नागरिक जाग उठिए, सोचिए. यस सर.
Yes. You have used the word drama. Now you have the opportunity to see how the drama unfolded. To see the highlighted portion of the press release given out by, not by the DCGI who was supposed to give it, but it was given by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Very interesting thing. I think you have also searched the site of CDSCO, our drug regulator, but it was not them who gave the press release announcing the approval. It was the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And what did they say? What did they say? In their statement, they said that same dosage can be administered to adults whose vaccine is formulated uniquely. So, this is how a vaccine is touted for the children. You see, the same dosage for adult and children. I think it's really a rare and rarest of the rare and unique one that can be given in the same dose for adults and children alike. And they have established a proven record of safety and efficacy in adults for the original variant and subsequent variants. Now you can see the way they are advertising a product. Original variant and subsequent variant. No specification on which variant.
Science. This is science. This is why they get Padma Bhushan. मजाक हो गया.
Yes, yes.
लोगों की जान से खिलवाड़.
That is their version of science and good scientific practice, demolishing all the ethics, throwing all the ethics to the window. Now you see the timeline, how it unfolded. It was after it was submitted to the drug regulator CDSCO, subject expert committee, still a very mystic body. We do not know who they are because they do never come out from behind the screen. They never clarify why they recommended it, what are the body of evidences they do have, why do they differ the viewpoint of our leading public health experts like Dr. Sanjay Rai, Dr. Jayaprakash Mulail, why do they differ from their very viewpoint? They never clarified it. It is these people, the mystic people called Subject Expert Committee. They recommended it on 12th October. But again, they sent it to another body of experts committee. Again, we do not know who they are. They evaluated, and after their evaluation, DCGI approved and tweeted approval. I don't think, why don't they have courage to make a press statement themselves? They tweeted it, and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare retweeted it. This went on. Finally, the tweet reached the media, and media broke the news.
It's a big shame.
And I think you can remember the day when they broke the news, all the channels at the same time. They called in the celebrity doctor, one cardiologist from a big corporate hospital. I watched him saying that this is a big relief.
Now he
This
has.
is a big relief in a country, in our country. I
Now-
wondered what kind of relief he was thinking of.
Now he has to
Was
cut a
it
sorry
relief
figure now.
for
After I
our
think
children?
he has to cut a
Or
sorry
was
figure.
it a relief?
Yeah.
Or was it a relief for the company that stockpiled billions of doses before they got the approval?
My goodness, that is big news, Doctor
So
Saab.
our question is, why is DCGI not coming forward and issuing their statement? Because it has some legal connotations. When we are studying it, researching on it, we need an official declaration from DCGI that is not there in their website. And why CDSO is silent? When you are approving the vaccines for children, the parents have the right to know about it. Where will they get the information from? If you remain silent on your website, the regulators are eloquent on praising the vaccines, even predicting that it will act on coming variants, but surprisingly, they are strangely silent on some key information. What are they? It is that a total sample size of 525 children were there as subjects. They were divided into 3 groups, each having 175 subjects. You see, as I have told you earlier in the talk, the study completion date was supposed to be January 25, 2022. Has there been any change? It should have been displayed. It should have been displayed in a site of clinicaltrials.gov. But you just get access to that site. I hope you will get the same result. So, the vaccine was approved 1 month before the supposed date of completion. Another very important thing that regulators are keeping silence. These are the facts that 23rd exclusion criteria were there. It means the children with the following health conditions were not included in the study. However louder the trumpet, They beat their drum. They do not have any knowledge or idea about how the vaccine will impact on this group of children who have the following conditions. The most important one is that any history of allergy, any history of having vaccinated, having got vaccinations, receipt of any blood products or immunoglobulins, any history of immunosuppressions like corticosteroids and other related drugs. We know a substantial group of children who are suffering from some chronic diseases, connective tissue disorders. They need the long-term treatment of these immunosuppressives or glucocorticoids. The children suffering from congenital disease, children suffering from any chronic illnesses and respiratory diseases, including mild asthma also. Now you can assume how many children are there who have this kind of health problems. There was not a single warning with the approval in a bid to inform the people that they should take care of it. They should note the fact. No, they didn't think that it was their responsibility. Now, one more important thing, I want all your attention to be on this. They excluded everyone who has virologically confirmed cases of COVID-19. When in a situation, the variants like Omicron is sweeping through the country, affecting almost more than 80% of people. After mild infections, everyone has got immune. They have developed antibodies. We do not know how this type of vaccines will impact them. We do not know. Without knowing anything, without informing the people, without informing the children, even their parents, they are pushing these vaccines. This is grossly unethical and unscientific. And here is an example how the campaign, there are some campaigns which are designed to spice up the propaganda for vaccines. These are camouflaged as studies, researches. You see, if there is any word noting it, they are making dubious claims like this. They said that the vaccines so far approved for the children, including Covaxin, they are so good that efficacy of these vaccines is nearing 96 to 100%. Okay. They said that they were acceptable in those underlying disease and suppressed immune systems. See how they are lying. The Covaxin trial themselves say they have excluded all the health conditions with suppressed immune systems and any chronic diseases, but these dubious claims, they try to inform us that these vaccines are so safe and are acceptable in these conditions. And they have also made a bizarre claim that the myocarditis and myopericarditis are very transient and resolved entirely. They try to fool us. We know that any conditions leading to myocarditis, pericarditis, or any cardiomyopathy may be self-limiting in some cases, but may have long-lasting residual effect in many of cases. Every doctor knows that. So why are they fooling? They're targeting the people to confuse them so that they don't take much attention to delve into the facts. See, the next slide, you will see. how far from the truth was their claim. This was published in a widely circulated and respected journal of cardiologists and cardiovascular surgeons. It was the circulation. They published a very startling studies that said in the abstract that we conclude the mRNA vaccines dramatically increase inflammation on the endothelium and T cell infiltration of cardiac muscle and may account for the observations of increased thrombosis, cardiomyopathy, and other vascular events following vaccinations. And they have followed it 2.5 months post second dose. It was quite significant. So it warned everyone and it admitted that it lent credence to the fact that these mRNA vaccines do cause myocarditis, pericarditis, and eventually cardiomyopathy in some cases. It is an established fact. But these reports didn't go well with the stakeholders of vaccines. And the Twitter marked it spamming and unsafe. Wherever people wanted to open this site, they marked it as unsafe. They forced the American Heart Association, surprisingly or not surprisingly, American Heart Association bowed down. They disowned the article. Very interestingly, they told the people that this article do not reflect the standpoint of the American Heart Association. So our question is it a political organ? Does it necessarily reflect the views of the magazine, views of the organization? It is a scientific publication. Whatever they observe, they have written it. If you cannot agree with it, you can write a rejoinder. You can give the counterpoint, but they disowned the resibility, and as a result of it, what happened? The whole article was reduced to nothing. You see, on the right hand side, we accessed it on 2nd December. It was clear on the net, but on 21st January, when we again accessed it, the abstract was distorted like this way. There was no mention, clear mention of myocarditis or any heart inflammations as a direct consequence of vaccinations. They have just removed it. They have distorted in such a way that the whole study was dismantled. These things are going on. So, quite desperately, they are trying to hide the truth, but truth will be marching. This is an example. The chance of myocarditis is how much? In this group of population, it was published in New England Journal of Medicine. Thankfully, it was not taken down. Till now, it was not retracted. They said clearly that they have estimated the incidence of myocarditis following mRNA vaccine is 2.13 per lakh cases, means 21.3 per million. Now compare it to the fact that serious outcome or death due to COVID in our country is just 2 per million. So now you can weigh between the risk and gains. So these are the facts that need to be brought in the public domain more and more frequently. So apart from approval of vaccines on that big announcement there was another thing called precautionary dosage. Precautionary dosage, they wanted to suggest that some group of people like frontline workers and comorbidities, having comorbidities, they are allowed to take booster doses and they called it a precautionary doses. I have never read such thing as precautionary doses in any book of medicine. So in that line, we just want to bring a fact like precautionary thought. What is that precautionary thought that we can have on the basis of discussions that we have already done? Original story of the selfish giant ended with the demise of the selfish giant himself. But in real world of deceased children today, is there any end in sight? Possibly not. But the specter of more sinister consequence looms over their heads. History will teach our children and grandchildren how we have lost many such young lives in a mad rush called vaccination against a disease called COVID 19, which was milder and less fatal than a seasonal flu. We do not know whether history will forgive us or not. We know that every face being shown on the screen is staring at us, probably asking, are you waking up? We should be okay now. By the report published very recently on 7th January in British Medical Journal. You see, they described in detail how the family of the victims of AEFI, adverse effect following immunization, even the family of the deceased children, they had to run from pillar to post to register their case in AEFI system. And they said it to be a black hole. Why did they say so? I think you can remember that COVID-19 operational guideline, a handbook published by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which laid down all the guidelines for vaccinations. In the 10th chapter, it emphatically said, we have limited safety data on COVID vaccines. And we have to monitor the safety of these vaccines by placing a robust surveillance system. Now see how much robust is their surveillance system is. The report said that it is like a black hole. Why? Even after overcoming a tremendous resistance, if they got the opportunity to file, to register the cases, there is no possibility that the authority will get back to them and inform them what happened. And one inhuman thing you will notice if you go to the co-win site, you will see that there was no name of any victim. Only an ID number was displayed there. This is a dehumanization process that should be decried, should be condemned. You will never know who have died, who have suffered serious injuries by just going through a number. Such heinous things are happening here. And Some more important aspects they have highlighted that victim families are left in darkness, they are in extreme confusion. It is incredibly hesitant. The authorities, I think I need to say that because people are often accused of having vaccine hesitancy and vaccine resistance as if it is a crime. I know, you know, everyone knows that we have right to be skeptical of any treatment whatsoever, be it a vaccine or not. But that has been stigmatized by saying that vaccine hesitancy, vaccine resistance. Now you see how incredibly hesitant and resistant they are to register a single death and AEFI. Even, even the parents of the deceased children suffered so much that they have no option but to call it poison. Now, other two things clearly point to the fact that the approval process is incredibly fast compared to it. Registering AEFI is a dead slow process. Here are some facts before you. These publications in British Medical Journal, they have highlighted that the number of reporting, rate of reporting of AEFI is lowest in India. It is just 4 per 1 lakh doses. Compare it with UK, where it is between 300 to 700 per 1 lakh doses. In Canada, it is 48. So keeping the number low doesn't mean that the total number of is necessarily low. Total AEFI, in spite of this big resistance, total number of AEFI registered so far is 49,819. Total reported deaths 946. Investigated only 89 deaths. There is a very important fact to notice that 89 out of 946 deaths were investigated, and without any investigations, vaccine officers or the people holding similar positions are telling to the media, to the people that these deaths cannot be attributed to vaccine. How can they say that without investigating it, but they're telling it? It has become a customary to label the death as not due to vaccine. So it is incredibly fast, the approval process is, and mass vaccination, and compared to it, admission, registering AEFI, including death, is dead slow. So what can we do? What can we reach after deliberations and discussions like this one? Will it have an impact on the arrogance and folly of the authorities? We do not know. At best, as a citizen, law-abiding citizen, we can leave some messages on the high wall of arrogance and folly. Calm and common sense, not madness. Good science, not bad science. Informed consent, not misinformation and coercion. Public health for public interest. Public health to bridge inequality, not to widen it. Public health to strengthen democracy, not to take away democratic rights. The last line is most important. Public health should not be a tool to coerce the people, to take away their fundamental democratic rights. So, remove all the restrictions which have no scientific basis. Let the children live a happy life. Free the children. Free the children. Save our future. Thank you.
Wonderful, Doctor Saab. Wonderful, wonderful. I think this should be the best I think I can expect, this channel can expect in these present circumstances. I think this is the best, because I just wanted to do a poster for tomorrow. I mean, we are going to retelecast it, and I will pick up these things. Wonderful. I think hats off to you, and I hope every parent, every citizen of this India, not only India, the world, will come alive with this live show, will understand how vaccines are being promoted by the vaccine manufacturers, thrusting it upon our head by our own money. Why? Creating fear psychosis. Our fear, our lack of knowledge, misinformation is the investment for these authorities, manufacturing companies. And you have seen how they publicize the data which they control to the regulator. They do trials, they manufacture, they do the trials, peer review is done by them, they publish it, their own men are there, and data is, they have got access to the data which is being submitted to DCGI for approval. Whether it is DCGI or select committee, it is making fun of our democracy, our rights. It is going to be a big task from here on for those authorities, right from Aurora to all those in Hyde, and even to the manufacturing companies. The government after this show will be totally embarrassed. Why is that Padma Bhushan or Vibhushan have been given to them? Under what umbrage? Is this for this unscientific zeal, suppressing the science, suppressing the logic, suppressing the basic evidences, dealing with human life in this way, where there is none? Just create fear psychosis, and when the prevention or treatment is more harmful and dangerous than the original disease itself, and when children have got the set of antibodies in them, why the hell you need these type of vaccines which doesn't come under any science, any medicine or any logic? Very clearly with evidences have been pointed out today. What has the Prime Minister and Prime Minister's office has to say? Likewise, every political party is equally responsible, because you have been silently supporting it, promoting it. ICMR, DCGI, all scientific bodies, along with all state governments, now you have to answer to the people. With this, today's live show, with all the evidences, such wonderful evidences, I don't think such wonderful evidences, what would the union and state governments have to say? I hope every parent, every concerned citizen will become aware what is happening with our health, how our health is being dictated for their commercial gains, to create fear psychosis and to keep us indoors. Always fear, threatened by archaic epidemic and disaster management acts, invest our own money out of fear which is created for these type of vaccine manufacturers. They are taking away thousands of crores of rupees which should have gone into educating children. When schools are collecting the same fees, no relief. Government doesn't come to the rescue. When we have lost livelihoods in the name of this pandemic, in the last 2 years, they should have created adequate employment, or else they should have given every needed family that financial assistance. They should have educated children, because they have made life miserable and costlier. Basic essential commodities, dal, chawal, everything as vegetables, fruits become so costly. Right here the farmer is not happy, and end users, buyers like us, we are not happy. But the middlemen, there they are looting when it comes to essential commodities. When it comes to health, all these pharmacies, they have become a big looters. Now that has been explained, and they are being given Padma Bhushan, the country's prestigious awards. For what? Now, this show has clearly exposed. The Honorable Prime Minister has to come out clean now. What his own health minister has told on the floor of Parliament, and what made him to come out with a statement on December 25th, and how safe these vaccines are, we have clearly given you science, data, logic by their own websites. America is also has to answer. The CDC, how they are trying to fool you. COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, same way as being done by our vaccine manufacturers. How they are trying to create confusions. They are the manufacturers. They do the trial. They publish. Many of them are there on the board, and they have all access to the data which is published and which is submitted to the regulator for final this thing, and that too under emergency use authorization where there is none. Even while according sanctioning such emergency use authorization, how willfully they have defaulted, it is clearly seen on the screen. Everyone is trying their best to escape because they fear now truth will come out one day. Now it has come on 29th January 2022, which we have been doing right from 2020 August. Now this is latest with children vaccines. So it is very clear, every parent should understand. You demand, what does that vaccine contain? Why do you need that vaccine? And you question after seeing this live show, because tomorrow also morning I am going to retelecast this on Citizens Dr. TSPR channel at 11 a.m. For this channel, for this Dr. TSPR channel, the same link will be there. I'm not going to change the link after the show also. You can access the same link, all the data on your screen. Start writing to Prime Minister. It is our money. Why this fear psychosis? Whether it in case of adults or children or the entire society. Why this fear psychosis? Whom are you helping in promoting these vaccines? Why Padma Bhushans are being given away to them? After you watch these shows, you will understand. The schools and colleges, they will face the music now. After watching this show, all those who have promoted vaccines, who have imposed vaccine culture on children and parents, they will repent. They will not go scot-free. I hope Supreme Court and High Court will take cognizance of this live show with all the evidences. At least now, they will have to appoint a committee or do the trial in a fast, much needed speed, so that the truth will come out, and all those who have been behind this unscientific, illogical looting of public resources, creating panic, and that too when health of the citizen is concerned, it really matters, because health is wealth. We are not dealing with machines. That is what we have been requesting and demanding. Supreme Court, where is the official data? Why did they die? How did you diagnose it? Now here is all we are presenting it to you. Side effects are more than the original fatality rate. Then why do you need a vaccine? What is the definition of vaccine? Supreme Court has to question them and come out clear. Is it not to stop the transmission? How is that it will say we will stop hospitality, reduce the intensity? Is it not the drug which has to do that? That too after you diagnose. So everything is there on your screen, and many people have been writing. Here is one Tyrone Jackson. He says, Weir's ID, some vaccine ID. Abortion spontaneous, right up 3 weeks pregnant at time of first dose on 12/21/2020. Due date would have been 9/9/2021. Miscarriage on 1/14/2021 at 6 weeks. It's an international one. We are not doing anything. People have been writing. You have to answer. American CDC, FDA, Indian ICMR, DCGI, right from Prime Minister's office to Chief Minister's office. Everyone now has to answer. Yes, sir, please.
And one more exposure. One more exposure is that the article that I have cited in this show, they said it bluntly that the people who are manning this AEFI surveillance system are mainly from cardiology, neurology, and other domains. Initially, it was dominated by the pediatricians. They are replaced by these people. And this correspondent says that they don't have any idea about AEFI. Even they don't know what is AEFI. They don't know how to tackle it. They don't know who to approach it. That is written. That was written in the article. That is the sorry state of this surveillance system.
Media has to answer. How can you pick up now? You will be held responsible if you are not reporting the everything in entirety. Doodh ka doodh, pani ka
There
pani.
should be
And the cardiologists now we have shown you
right.
this. You prove us wrong because in every flyer poster we release the mobile number also. If there is anything, you are most welcome to join and debate with us. Prove us wrong. You debate. If you have any scientific information, logic, or evidence, you are most welcome. We invite you because we are here to discuss, debate, and decide in a transparent and accountable way. No question of hushing up.
Most deplorable,
Yes, sir.
most deplorable thing is that the teachers of the many schools, mostly in rural areas and in suburban areas, they are forcing the children to get vaccinated under the excuse that you won't write your exam, you won't be able to appear your exam, and this and I have said in some Bengali channels also, please mind what you are doing. Please have some basic idea about if anything goes wrong for a children, will you be there to help? And what are the warnings? Do you know about any warnings being given for vaccination? Do you have any knowledge? No, zero knowledge. And one more important thing is that when this vaccines was approved, it was said that all the recipient of vaccine should be observed at least for half an hour in the site of vaccination. So it suggests that there should be the medications, emergency response system, and the doctor must be there. But they are being given in schools, colleges. There were nothing. If any child collapses, what will they do? Such irrational, unscientific things are going on without asking any questions.
Yes, that's what we said. When we exposed Covaxin, Covishield without completing the safety, efficacy, immunogenicity, peer-reviewed trials, twice it should go. In a first small group, then later on a big group after they get the nod, after peer review, which has not been done. Then they went for emergency use authorization. The same thing is happening here. Advancement, they should have completed it in January. Prime Minister comes on December 25th, January 25th, 2022, and he comes on 25th December 2021. All evidences are there. Now, the Indian government has to answer. Every parent become sensitive. Take the information. We are trying to give you the information, and then later on it is up to you to decide. We provide you information. No imposition like Honorable Prime Minister all of a sudden comes and addresses and he says, do this. Are we in a democracy?
Another
Are we in a democracy?
Another dangerous trend is that article revealed the fact that there was imposition of some conditions on the district vaccine officers, and they are being given the vaccine targets. They're running after the target.
Whom to
What
benefit?
Are
Schools
you
and colleges, including
Are you
headmasters and every management,
right
you will be
from
held
the people?
responsible. Yes, sir.
They are being given the
Targets.
vaccine target.
Shame. And another one, Partha Chakraborty. We all live in democracy. If there is a medical emergency, government must provide all the data. Our national health is not military secret. We demand logical explanation. Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Chief Minister, Chief Cabinet Secretary to Chief Secretaries, you are responsible. You are answerable now. Now people have started. What is happening in the world will unfold in India. Not anymore. You can't impose, you can't threaten people with which is illogical. They are demanding data now. Give the data.
Most intriguing thing is that if you want to get some reprieve from the court, you have to approach the court. You need to have some legal documents. Where is that document? Will the tweet be regarded as any document in the courtroom? No, not that. On 3rd January 2021, the DCGI gave approval on these two vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, and they did a press release and met the press there. But in follow-up of that, when the vaccines included larger and larger groups of populations, like the pregnant, lactating mothers, and now the children, DCGI never made any comment publicly. Everything was done. If you notice it carefully, that you will see that every notices came from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Why? Has our drug regulator been gone defunct? Why are they not speaking up? Why their website is going silent? Why are we not getting any data, any information? And we want to actually get the information from official, authentic sources. But that is not there in this site.
Now, Supreme Court, High Courts, you have to answer now, because nothing comes from the official website and you are promoting these vaccines in another way. We are asking you because as a citizen, we are investing our money. When my money is invested, जब मेरा पैसा इसके ऊपर खर्च हो रहा, ये मेरा हक बनता है कि मेरे को जानकारी दे. उच्चतम न्यायालय केंद्र वहाँ पर दिल्ली में या हमारे राष्ट्र राजधानी में, उच्चतम न्यायालय ने ये बताना चाहिए, क्योंकि आप भी वैक्सीन को कहीं ना कहीं आप प्रमोट करते दिखाई दे रहा. जब हमारे को स्वास्थ्य मंत्री एक कहता है, प्रधानमंत्री एक कहता है, जो DCGI ड्रग कंट्रोल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जिसने ये परमिशन देनी है, वो वहाँ वेबसाइट साइलेंट है, वहाँ कोई जानकारी नहीं है. लेकिन ये एक्सपर्ट कमेटी कौन है? ये लोग कैसे दे सकते? इनकी पुष्टि क्या है? What is the legal sanctity? Why Supreme Court and High Court are silent on this? In spite of people losing their livelihoods and lives, not because of corona, because other comorbidities and drug trials. That is why we have been demanding postmortem or autopsy. What is the treatment given? Why did they give the treatment? What were the comorbidities? Did any child die because of COVID-19? Prove that. Same thing was done for adults. All of a sudden mass vaccination. Why if these vaccines are working, why still emergency use authorization? Why so many variants are coming out? Why there is no liability and compensation? Why there is no transparency in drug trials, vaccine trials? You are investing my money. Why there is no proper information? For 130 crore population, a sample size of 40, 100, is that enough? And that too for a disease which has got 99.99% recovery on their own without treatment. I am not quoting. These are all world statistics. And why Supreme Court and High Court are still silent, allowing these governments to exploit people? Some are trying to differentiate between vaccinated and unvaccinated, trying to play with the fundamental right of people, right to life and right to health, the right to livelihood. Why Supreme Courts and High Courts are silent? When US Supreme Court, now England as a country, Sweden, Denmark, Spain, big protests are going across the globe. No media shows. Why Supreme Court and High Courts are silent? When governments are not, and all the political parties and governments have become one to impose this mandates culture, illegal, illogical mandates culture. Why Supreme Court and High Courts are silent? Mass protests in Canada, across the globe. England, everyone have done away with all these mandates. Why India still doing all this? Now where is the logic for Election Commission of India to come up with elections in March when such is the case? What is that was given in Uttar Pradesh? Cinema halls, pubs, bars and restaurants open. How can you close schools and colleges? Why Supreme Court and High Courts are silent? Where is science and logic? That is why this show after show, sensitizing every parent. Now I hope every child's parent will become sensitive with this information which we have provided with all evidences. It is up to you to act. And from our show, we definitely demand Prime Minister and its office, all chief ministers, all political parties, including DCGI and ICMR, is this scientific? Is this logic? We have provided you all the data. You can access all the data and you have to respond. What action we are going to initiate on Dr. Arora and all such expert committees and all those manufacturers, vaccine manufacturers, who are themselves on the board of publishing data, and the same data they have got access and the same data is going to regulator. How can this be done and they are getting Padma Bhushans? There should be a big inquiry into all this. Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gautam Das. Wonderful presentation. Wonderful, wonderful. I think you have made every Indian much, much proud. The real joys, enjoyment of the 26th January Republic Day is today, because we have given you a proper information, because every individual is a constitutional authority himself. We are in a republic. Every individual, हर एक नागरिक जो है अपना वो एक संविधान है. Every individual is a constitutional authority, and together we form a democracy. Our taxes are the ones which make Prime Minister to Chief Minister to run the government, Cabinet Secretary to Chief Secretary. Everyone is a public servant. ये सब हमारे पैसे से चलता है, केंद्र या राष्ट्र सरकार. ये हमारे प्रजा सेवक है, पब्लिक से सर्वेंट्स है. ये क्यों डरते हो आप? आवाज़ उठाइए. ये हमारी देश और हम संविधान है. This is our country and we ourselves are a constitutional authority. Stand up so that even Supreme Court and High Court will take cognizance, will not try to impose such types of illogical, unscientific mandates on us anymore. Let us save our children from all this once for all. Save ourselves, our children, our family, our society, our state, our country, and the world itself. Come on. Awake, if not today. Thank you, sir. Take care. Good night for all the Indians. Sukha Nidra, Shubha Ratri for the world over. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Bye, sir. Do support Dr. TSPR channels, Citizens Dr. TSPR channel and Environment People Dr. TSPR channel. Tomorrow morning, there will be a retelecast with a new link on Citizens Dr. TSPR channel. The same link will be there on Dr. TSPR channel. You can access, you can watch it, share the link across, and you can comment. Thank you.